Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you with the very first edition of Nitro's Take for the year 2023. Can you believe it's 2023 already? I can't believe that. That is unreal. It was Wrestle Kingdom week. January 4th, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 17, the big dome show in Tokyo, Japan at the Tokyo Dome, the former IG Dome, and a huge crowd, 26,000 plus filing into the Tokyo Dome. This event doubled as the official public memorial for the legendary Antonio Inoki as well, so fans could stop and pay tribute to one of wrestling's all-time legendary figures and one of Japan's all-time legendary pop culture icons and figures. The man was a wrestler, a politician, you name it, and sadly he passed away in the fourth quarter last year, I think October of 2022, and the sport and the whole scene of Japanese pro wrestling, very polarizing individual at times and that stuff, but depending on different situations and arguments and whatever, but it definitely won't be the same without his influence and his just him not being here anymore. So, thoughts and condolences definitely go out to Antonio Inoki's family, friends, and all the fans over there for sure. And this event kind of doubled as the memorial show for it, but also it was Wrestle Kingdom 17, so it was Japanese wrestling WrestleMania. Basically, this is the big show for all of the New Japan talent for the year. They started off with their big show. Here are my thoughts on how Wrestle Kingdom 17 went. We're going to take a quick break after this section, and then we will get to New Year's Dash as well, which happened the next night, January 5th, and what happened with New Year's Dash, which is the Mystery Vortex. Anything can happen. And going into January 5th, there was only one set match, and we'll get to that actually right off the top here. But first, let's talk Wrestle Kingdom. We'll start with the pre-show, which was a long one. It was almost a 2-hour pre-show, but because of the legendary New Japan Ramble, which we'll talk about. The first match was a 3-minute exhibition with two Young Lions. So the Young Lions getting some love here to start the card off. We had Ryohei Oliwa taking on Boltin Oleg, and Boltin Oleg is a big grab. Yuji Nagata brought him in to New Japan late last year, and so some of the details on him, he's from Kazakhstan. He's been wrestling since the age of 11. He joined Bushiroad's amateur team in 2017 before the team was renamed Team New Japan. And he is a 7-time All-Japanese winner and won the All-Asia tournament in April 2021, which put him solidly on the Olympic track. And yes, he did, I think, make an Olympic appearance somewhere along the line. The match itself was a 3-minute draw, so it ended in a time limit draw. And what it was a couple of, Young Lions just showing exhibition amateur holds and so on. So they stuck to the amateur stuff, and Oleg almost grabs a free count off of multiple arm drags towards the end of the match. Again, a 3-minute draw. So our next match, it was the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Year's Ramble, baby, because, Japanese and English, it is Rambo, not Rumble, but Rambo over there. So it is Rambo season. Yes, the final four of the New Japan Rambo move on to New Year's Dash for the King of Pro Wrestling title in 2023. When is New Year's Dash? Well, the next night, January 5th. This will be later in the review that we'll talk about that. But the final four out of this one will end up there, and just a huge 30-minute segment of the pre-show was devoted to this. Your four finalists out of this, the Great Okan, Shingo Takagi, Sho, and Toru Yano, they advanced to the 4-way match. And of course, Toru Yano is a former King of Pro Wrestling himself. Shingo Takagi basically trying to use this as a stepping stone to get back into the world title picture. More on him later on. And Great Okan and Sho gets thrown in there to kind of give the other factions a representative in there. So you have a LIJ member, you have a United Empire member, You have a Chaos member and you have a Bullet Club member. So there we go. Now, the King of Pro Wrestling this year does not get a trophy. That trophy's been vandalized and busted over people's heads, you name it. It is a new belt, and that belt will represent the first provisional champion in the promotion in 2023. They said in the press and that stuff, it could be the only provisional champion in the promotion in 2023, but, angles and storytelling and so on, so... But anyway, Rambo runs 30-37. It's a ton of fun. Go check it out. No real major surprises for entrants in this thing. As for Legends and that stuff that you would normally see, because the Legends were wrapped up in the next match and later on in the card. So let's go to the next match. The Antonio Inoki Memorial 6-man tag team match was up next. On one side, you had Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, and Toge Makabe taking on the Dragon, Tetsubi Fujinami. Yes, the actual Fujinami. Minoru Suzuki, Murder Grandpa, yeah, and Tiger Mask in there. And that match runs 9 minutes and 10 seconds. And the finish, just because it's older athletes, it was Makabe getting the free count off of a victory roll attempt by Tiger Mask that kind of went a little screwy towards the end, maybe a little botchy. But, post-match, Fujinami spoke, says that the current crop of New Japan stars will carry on Inoki's fighting spirit into the main card. And then they walk out with Inoki's music playing in the background, and that's it for the free pre-show, the pre-free show, I guess. And that's it for the pre-show. So again, just the free matches on the pre-show. Check out the Rambo, and I would say maybe balk on the other two, because one's an exhibition and one's basically a tribute match with a bunch of legends. But if you want to see a bunch of legends try and get it in a ring, like Fujinami, just an exercise in joint manipulation when he was in there and that stuff, like all of his matches basically are. So you can check it out for sure. He had leg screws for all at one point for everybody, and you got to see Tiger Hattori as well make a refereeing appearance on the pre-show as well. So we go into the main card now, and it opened up with the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship on the line, where we had the United Empire team of Catch 2-2, that's TJP and Francesco Akira. They were the champions, going up against Leo Rush and Yo, representing Chaos. So this match was a hot start. Yo with a big dive early, major spots on the outside of the ring and the ramp, and at the end of all that, Leo Rush takes a face first bump on the ramp, and man, he got busted open. And if you saw his social media later in the night and that stuff, it looked like he had busted up a nose and got really gashed up on one side too and everything. But hey, anything for Wrestle Kingdom and anything to try to win. It was a wild contest, to be sure of it. Rush fought back, the DMV into the final hour attempt, only netted a 2 count. TJP hit Yo with the detonation kick and only nets a 2 count as well. Free K by Rush and Yo only nets a 2 count. And then towards the end, this was the finish, a Diamond Fusion attempt by Yo, but TJP goes for a roll-up, and that's a 1-2-3. So the more experienced team of, with one of the more experienced guys, TJP, nets the 1-2-3 on Yo. But again, a great pairing, because you have both teams have super veterans on them that have been veterans of the independent wars in the States and in the junior scene for years. And then you have 2 up-and-coming stars with Yo and Akira that were, just lately, over the last, let's say, 5 years or so, really jumping on. So really enjoyed that opener. I thought it was a great back-and-forth contest. The runtime with this one was 10 minutes and 29 seconds. And, of course, Catch 20. I almost want to call it Catch 22, but no, you got to put the slash in there. It's Catch 2-2. TJP and Francesco Akira defeating Leo Rush and Yo by pinfall, again in 10 minutes and 29 seconds. So IWGP Women's Championship on the line next. The challenger Tam Nakano taking on Kairi. Yes, the former Kairi Sane, the former Kairi Hojo of Stardom and WWE fame, is back in Stardom and is your current IWGP Women's Champion. as Kairi. So this is the first real singles contest for Stardom at Wrestle Kingdom. I think they were part of the show last year, but it was a multi-woman tag, I believe, that couldn't be shown on the New Japan service, if I remember correctly, because of the exclusive streaming deal that Stardom had with whoever sets up their streaming at this time or something like that. But all of that's been worked out. This match was on the main card, and we didn't miss a single second of it. So we had the Cosmic Angel versus the Pirate. So let's go. And apparently, I didn't see this because I had turned away from the monitor for a quick second or so. They showed Naomi and Bayley in the crowd watching. I'll have to take a look at that and see. Nakano does a Steiner screwdriver. What? Tam Nakano does a Steiner screwdriver? That's cool. That's part of her moveset. The finish, though, the insane elbow nets the free count for Kairi. Kairi knocked Nakano with a brutal spinning back fist after the near fall with the Steiner screwdriver. But it's what happened post-match is that everybody is talking about and has what everybody has been talking about, I should say, over the past couple of days since its inception, since it happened. The boss is in NJPW, or shall I say the CEO now is in NJPW. Mercedes Mone, yes, the former Sasha Banks of WWE fame, is in NJPW. She jumps Kairi and cuts a promo. Monet challenges Kairi for battle in the Valley on February 19th in San Jose for the IWGP Women's title, and tickets going fast for that one. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, the match is not at the Shark Tank, but rather the San Jose Convention Center, two different buildings, but still a lot of San Jose Sharks type imagery with the Battle in the Valley graphics and stuff going into that pay-per-view. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to check out and see. Our next contest, Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi taking on FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. The runtime for this one was 10 minutes and 10 seconds. By the way, Kairi and Tam Nakano only 5 minutes and 56 seconds as well. So the fans who like long women's matches and that stuff, sadly, we didn't get that at Wrestle Kingdom this year. We only got about, close to a 6-minute affair with that. This one, a 10-minute affair with Bishamon defeating FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler via pinfall. Here are some of the highlights during that. A slow, old-school sports entertainment pace here, of course, using, FTR as kind of the team that was kind of driving the bus a little bit. There was a big flying dive by Cash to the outside, and the Powerplex by FTR netted a 2 count. I popped for Powerplex, everybody. Power and Glory mark right here. I love that team. The Big Rig netted a 2 count as Yoshihashi saves Goto. Then we got the Spike Pile Driver only netting a 2 count for FTR. But the double team Bishamon finish is hit with Yoshihashi and Goto in the ring, and they get the pinfall, I think, on Cash for the 1-2 free count. Now, the cool part about this, though, is that the tag titles have changed hands every year since 2014 at Wrestle Kingdom. So if you're a tag team champion going into Wrestle Kingdom, you might be losing the belt, is what I'm trying to say. So there we go. Moving on through the card, we've got the NJPW World TV title match with Ren Narita taking on Zack Sabre Jr., the inaugural television champion for the New Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling World. It's imminent. Now, this is very interesting. At the beginning of this matchup, Chris Charlton, one of the commentators on a New Japan Pro Wrestling World on the English side, revealed to us the format on how these matches will work going forward. Very similar, to how the NWA has their TV title matches set up with the 6:05 time limit. This is a 15-minute time limit over in New Japan Pro Wrestling for all TV title matches. If it goes the distance, however, they're just going to reschedule the match. Again, same rules, you name it, just at a later date between the same two participants, which very interesting. Well, no doubt that they're going to use that in an angle going forward somewhere down the line. I'd love to see how that works out. I mean, we could get potentially, an inadvertent best of 7 with 6 straight ties or something like that between guys if the right feud comes along or something with this. So very cool, very interesting concept. Zach went blonde. not a whole lot to say there. Very Slim Shady looking, I find, with that look. But with only 5 minutes left, Narita goes for the leg, but Sabre goes for an armbar and gets the tap. And we got a New Japan World TV champ. It is Zack Sabre Jr. Post-match, the Mighty Don't Kneel that were involved in the Rambo. So Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols hit the ring. There's big history between the three. They offer Zack a TMDK T. He accepts. Maybe they needed a suplex brand deal, which of course is, the merchandise line of Zack Sabre Jr. But anyway, Zack Sabre Jr., now the third member of the Mighty Don't Kneel after the disbanding of Suzuki-gun at the end of last month. So we got the never openweight title on the line next. Tama Tonga with Jado representing the Gorillas of Destiny, taking on Carl Anderson, the champion of Bullet Club and the OC of WWE. So we have WWE versus New Japan Pro Wrestling here. Two founding members of the Bullet Club going head to head. And very interesting, Carl not wearing Bullet Club gear here, but the OC gear here. And a hot start as Anderson smokes Tonga with the belt, Yakuza boot, and a toss to the outside. We see a driver on the ramp by Anderson on Tonga, and then a gun stun attempt on the ramp by Anderson, but Tama gets him and reverses it, and then the match continues from there. We saw a top rope ace cutter here by Anderson, as he only netted a 2 count. A supreme flow by Tonga only netted a 2 count. A second rope gun stun into a weird botchy gun stun for the 1-2-3 by Tonga, and NJPW finally gets their never belt back. Anderson goes back to Raw. So yeah, as predicted, Carl Anderson losing the belt. I kind of figured that was going to happen. The match itself was 9 minutes and 35 seconds. The tournament final for the World Television Championship was 10 minutes and 32 seconds between Sabre and Ren Narita. So again, a lot of these matches leading up to at least the main event portion, under 10 minutes or so, and the same coming up into the next one, because we had a, 6-man tag. It was Keiji Muto's last appearance on a New Japan card ever in his career. He is retiring at the end of the month totally. So Keiji Muto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shota Umino taking on LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón. So we got Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi in this match, and this match ran 9 minutes and 20 seconds with the team of Muto, Tanahashi, and Umino getting the pinfall. I like this one just due to the fact that it kind of showcased all three generations of New Japan. You had, Tanahashi, who's been the ace, the current ace, the John Cena of Japan, if you will. You have the up-and-coming star with Shota Umino and his influences and that stuff. And then, of course, the past star, Keiji Muto. Sometimes he's a Great Muta, sometimes he's Keiji Muto. Depends on which promotion he's in, whether it's All Japan or New Japan or Noah. And even sometimes he'll pop out the persona of the Great Muta, and sometimes he'll pop out the persona, I should say, on Keiji Muto. He tried to do the moonsault, and Tanahashi stopped him, which made me upset because he only busts out the moonsault on very special occasions. I was lucky to see it in person at the G1 Supercard. Let me tell you, that was quite the pop when he showed up during the G1 Rambo, the pre-show Rambo back in New York back in 2019. So anyway, finisher for this one was the Shining Wizard into a Death Rider by Umino on Bushi, netting the 1-2-3 count. And then post-match, Umino and Naito are staring off at each other. Are we looking at next year's main event at the Tokyo Dome? We'll have to wait and see. Our next contest was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, Fatal 4-Way. Master Wato, Hiromu Takahashi, El Desperado, and the champion, Bone Soldier, Taji Ishimori. Man, there was a lot of quick 2-count calls to begin with. And then Charleston, one of the commentators on New Japan World, says that Naito and Umino may have gotten involved into a backstage fight after the previous match, which is like, wow, okay, they're using a little bit of sports entertainment, WWE, AEW style tactics that are happening. There were still a ton of dives to the outside in this thing. And then Charleston corrects himself towards the end of the match and says it wasn't Umino, but it was Pro Wrestling Noah's Congo faction that they confronted LIJ and that during the presser, and that they all went head to head. It's all up on New Japan Pro Wrestling's YouTube, so after you're done watching this or listening to this, you can go and check that out, and let me know in the comments what you think about that. Finish, Hiromu hits the time bomb on Master Wato for the 1-2 free count. Man, so much for Master Wato's chance at the belt. The runtime for this thing was 16 minutes and 43 seconds, and Hiromu is your new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion once again. And then for many, the match of the night, and we will visit the match of the night polls at the end of the video here, but the IWGP US title match was up next. Will Ospreay, the champion, versus Kenny Omega, coming in from AEW with Don Callis in tow. Kenny's entrance music, they finally went full Final Fantasy with him. He is the one-winged angel, Sephiroth, and we've got Will, the assassin, the return of the ruthless heel, Ospreay back to his Elevate track. That basically was the beginning of Ospreay on his current heel run. We think back to Wrestle Kingdom, even, what was it, 2019, and the opening contest for the never openweight belt between him and Kota Ibushi, where the first Stormbreaker elbow was unleashed in a match by Ospreay on the back of Ibushi's head, and in storyline they stretchered him out. So I mean, that was a huge moment back then, and it kind of showed everybody that, wait a second, Ospreay has this real ruthless side, that he can get real sadistic in the ring if wanted to. Runtime for this thing, 34 minutes and 38 seconds. It's probably going to get all the stars, and in fact, it probably does, I would say, deserve all the stars. It didn't really move the needle much for me. I watched the build. I thought the build in AEW in the early days after Forbidden Door and that stuff was very interesting with this, because they brought United Empire in for the Trios tournament and that stuff, and Omega was just browbeating Ospreay to the point where Ospreay just flat out lost it on that one episode of Rampage on Omega. So I'd like the storytelling over there for that. It just was unfortunate that it took a few months to really roll it out, because had this match happened at, say, like a Full Gear or something, I think it would have been a little bit more timely, a little bit more better. But I think the fact that they did a lot of the promo build for this and that stuff, and then announced 6 months later that this was going to happen, this was it kind of was a little bit of a detriment for it. But again, Kenny Omega is a 2-time IWGP US champion coming out of this show. A vicious one-winged angel after a big V trigger nets the 1-2 free count for Omega. What a fight, just a back and forth battle, and there was a lot of stuff going on. A table was used outside, and we saw kind of the shining spot where Kenny pops his head out of the hole in the middle of the table and is acting all psycho-eyed and everything. So it was some crazy stuff. So, again, didn't really move the needle for me per se, but I think that match itself was very passable. I can see why people would love it. I wouldn't have equated it much to a lot. A lot of people were comparing it to the Jericho match a few years ago at Wrestle Kingdom that Omega had, and I'm like, I like the Jericho match a lot more than I like the Ospreay match, honestly. But that's just my one person's opinion on it. What's yours? Put it below. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't know. And then our last match, the second of the double main event, so IWGP World Heavyweight title on the line, Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White, and this was just a back and forth affair, much like their G1 Supercard match back in 19, and this was an incredible back and forth matchup. Runtime for this was 33 minutes and 3 seconds, with Okada getting the pinfall after hitting a Blade Runner, a Cobra Flosion, and a Rainmaker for the 1-2 free count. Okada regains the title again at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Post-match, it's Shingo Takagi. He hits the ring. He challenges Okada for the title on, I think we finally got the date. It's January 21st at the New Beginning event. It was kind of confusing because Charleston couldn't really hear the announcement because the crowd was very hot, and he couldn't make out the Japanese to figure out what it said, because at first they said February 1st, and I was looking on the calendar. I was like, what is February 1st? What's, I don't think they have an event booked for February 1st yet, unless they were going to announce something. But January 21st makes more sense, because that is the new new beginning card, I think, in Osaka, they said, and I believe that's where Takagi has won the world title prior in his career. So he's trying to play that card again on Okada. Okada's the champ. He walks out at the end of the night with Antonio Inoki's music playing, a moving tribute at the end, with Okada leading the crowd into Inoki's chant as the show fades to black. So, total runtime, I think, if you count it all, it's about 5 hours and 48 minutes or something. It's a long one. But again, you can fast forward through a lot of it, because half of it is all dead space in the pre-show. So maybe 4 hours and 30 minutes, honestly, to tell you the truth, for a runtime for this thing. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think that I really like the World Heavyweight title match myself between White and Okada. I think they got good chemistry in there. I think it's biased, but I enjoyed the G1 Supercard match more in 2019. Biased because I was there, and I felt I thought that match was the match of the WrestleMania week, honestly, between the two of them. I thought that was just a great struggle. You can tell who was going to walk out with what in that one. This one, you kind of got the feeling that Okada was going to win and walk out with the belt again. Just with everything that's happened with New Japan over the past year or so, and that they were just looking for a clean slate to begin, or to I guess, a clean slate to reset the year a little bit. So a 7 out of 10. The Omega Ospreay match, watch that. Let me know what you think on that and that stuff. That's what everybody's loving. The Mercedes Mone debut after the Kairi Tam Nakano match is a good moment as well, even though she kind of botched the new finish a little bit, but that's just, that's minor, whatever. I think the bigger news was during the week we found out that she has inked a deal with AEW as well. So again, what myself and Erica had talked about here a couple of weeks ago is potentially coming to pass, and I apologize to the subscriber or the viewer, I can't remember your username that brought it up, but yeah, Mercedes / Sasha might be looking at trying to pull the trifecta and get herself on a New Japan major show, an AEW major show, and WWE's major show, all within a calendar year, to build her brand up. And that is, that's a huge coup, going forward. That is just an amazing coup. If you can put that on your resume, that's that. You get to see Muto in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring one more time, and you get to also watch, you get to watch Carl Anderson and Tama Tonga and whatever that was. That was kind of a little bit underwhelming, in my opinion. Just to with all the build that was building up with it, you figured this was going to be this big thing, but it seemed to be very underwhelming. I felt, but it was in the middle of the card, so who cares? And the junior heavyweight title match is always a car crash, and so that's it. But that opening tag's pretty good too. So lots of redeemable stuff here. 7 out of 10. Let's move on after the break here to night number 2, which is the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Year's Dash. So we'll see you after the fade. Kellen Nitro back with you, and the night after, January 5th, was New Japan's New Year's Dash card. It took place at the Ota City Gymnasium in Tokyo, and as far as New Year's Dash cards go from New Japan, I felt that it was probably one of the best New Year's Dashes I've ever seen. They went complete Mystery Vortex with the card. I know it's been it's a format that they've been working with the past few years or so, but this was the first year that they've actually heavily advertised this card as a Mystery Vortex card, which is basically we don't know the matches until we hear music on the card, and that's it. And they did a great job, I thought, of keeping with storylines, of establishing new storylines. And on top of that, garnering interest for the upcoming pay-per-views and that stuff. There was a lot of talk about Battle in the Valley. There was a lot of talk about the New Beginning and that stuff. The King of Pro Wrestling Fatal 4-Way happened. That was the only match that we knew the participants of for from the night before, and that was in the semi-main event slot. The main event actually was the first time tag team of Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega defeating the United Empire's Jeff Cobb and Aaron Hanare. Post-match, we saw Cobb and Omega kind of square off with the IWGP US Heavyweight title kind of firmly in Cobb's sights. So we're going to get a Omega versus Cobb match somewhere down the line here, I think, for the IWGP US title. Whether that happens on North American soil in AEW, or it happens at Battle in the Valley, or maybe it happens later on down the line as well. Because another thing that happened was the announcement of the Wrestle Kingdom 7 team Night 2, which is basically a New Japan versus Pro Wrestling Noah supercard, where the stars from both will go head-to-head, but there's no title matches or anything on that card. New Japan kind of keeping that stuff to itself. So, I'm going to give the New Japan New Year's Dash an 8 out of 10. Again, I love the Mystery Vortex. I love the whole surprise nature of the event, and it translated very well for me later on down the line watching that. Forgot to give you the match of the night from Wrestle Kingdom as well. After every pay-per-view, feel free to hit up my Twitter at KellenNitro. I will have a poll on what everybody thinks should be the match of the night winner. So with 67% of the vote this time around, you guys think the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match from Wrestle Kingdom 17 was the match of the night. And again, good match. It didn't flip all of the switches for me, but I did enjoy watching that bout. That's it, folks. Later days. Happy wrestling watching. Took me a few days to complete this, but thank you very much for the patience. I'm Kellen Nitro. We'll see you next time here on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Do take care.